because I don't I mess up on half of it.
Dominic the Donkey is one of those Christmas songs that you can sing and screw up and nobody cares because it's Dominic the Donkey.
Dominic the Donkey is number 3 on one of the worst Christmas songs ever produced.
What's
now,
1 and 2?
Hear me out. Christmas Shoes,
Okay.
for me, is a overrated, cheap, emotional pull string of a song. So there's 1.
Okay.
2 is Dominic the Donkey.
Okay.
Okay, and 3 just left my head. I had this down this morning
I
because
Want
my wife and I
Hippopotamus
were
for
thinking
Christmas?
about it.
Hippopotamus?
No. I love that one. Oh,
Grandma
crap.
got run over by a reindeer?
What was the... Yes, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah. Grandma got ran over by a reindeer, Christmas Shoes, and Dominic the Donkey. The difference is that Dominic the Donkey is fun. It's badly fun.
Yeah.
Because it's so... because you can tell the guy who's singing it doesn't actually have an Italian accent.
Yeah.
So he's faking an Italian accent while singing it. And it's about a donkey wearing a little derby cap. I mean, it's funny.
He's got the... he's the Olive Garden of Italian singers.
Yes. Yes. And that's why, even though...
Never-ending salad and breadsticks.
Exactly.
Presents Dominic the Donkey.
His name is Dominic. He'll get his salad from the bar and you'll never see him sick.
Oh, God. Well, we're not here to make fun of Dominic the Donkey.
I'm not making fun
Olive
of Dominic
Garden.
the Donkey. I'm just saying.
So, hey, everybody. Welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
And I'm Ryan.
And there was a small movie that came out this weekend that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Small.
Small.
Way to put it.
I haven't seen the final numbers for box office yet, but I'm going to guess somewhere between 300 million and infinity.
I wouldn't be surprised. I just got back from the theater. Just got back. Our showing was at 10:30 this morning. It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
The theater wasn't full, but every other seat was taken.
Yeah.
At 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday.
I should probably buy my tickets for later then. Ahead of time.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're going to talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I saw it opening night. You just saw it.
I just got back from it.
I'm going to see it again tonight after we record this because my wife hasn't seen it yet. So.
Which is a good move.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about seeing it again at some point, but I'm going to wait a couple weeks.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about just our general thoughts on the movie without getting into spoilers for a little bit, and then we're going to get into spoilers. So we'll make sure that you know, if you haven't seen the movie yet, when the spoilers are coming. I don't know how long we can talk about it without spoilers, though.
I think I might be able to.
We can probably go a few minutes, but
Yeah.
we'll make sure you know that the spoilers are coming. But other than that, yeah. So, do you
Okay.
want to start?
I'll start.
It's fresh in your mind.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I'll start. Did this movie have director problems or no?
No,
It didn't?
it didn't.
Okay, because I feel like halfway through the movie, a different director took hold.
Okay.
For me, and once we get into spoilers, I'll explain why. But for somebody who hasn't seen the movie yet, for me, there was a pacing difference and almost the movie felt different after a certain point. And prior to that point, I was not entirely sure about the movie as a whole. But then after, with the way the movie went, I liked it.
Yeah.
The tail end of it definitely, for me, helped with the first half.
The movie definitely treads lightly for a bit because it's picking up right where Force Awakens ended. So,
and there are points where it doesn't know where to tread.
Yeah,
it felt
so. It picks up right. That's not really a spoiler. I don't think.
No, it's not a spoiler.
And this is the first time that's happened in a Star Wars movie that it's back to back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see. I can kind of see where you're coming at. I think I know what point you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I think part of that has to deal with its dealing with where these characters are at the end of Force Awakens.
Yeah,
and then it slowly gets into where they're going, and then at a certain point, it's like, okay, we're there.
Yeah, one of the problems was this movie had, I think, was about an hour and a half to an hour and 10 minutes of catch up. Not ketchup as in the condiment, as in ketchup, as in we have 6 different people. We have to wrap up some stories and start new ones before we can actually go on one singular storyline that involves everybody.
I had walking out of the theater, after Force Awakens, I was filled with joy. I was I loved it. Going back, not as strong on it, but walking out of the theater, I was I enjoyed that. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Walking out of Last Jedi, I just stood there and I was I don't know how I feel right now.
I had the same issue.
And there were moments that I loved.
Yeah.
And there were moments that fell flat for me. But I will say this. Visually speaking, it's the most beautiful Star Wars film I've ever seen.
Definitely.
Definitely probably better than anything I've seen this year. I haven't seen that much. But compared to the Marvel stuff, this is strong visuals. And I'm really excited to see a trilogy from Rian Johnson. So I don't know what that trilogy is yet, but I'm excited.
We'll find out.
One thing that's not really spoilers too much is I'm glad they gave Oscar Isaac something to do this time. Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
They didn't really have much for him last time. And this time they really stepped up his character.
His character developed, and when it comes to Force Awakens, they pretty much kind of let the audience. There is enough of him to see to think that this guy might be Force sensitive. But they don't really go beyond his actual character. All they show is that he's a good pilot and he's good at wit, and he's a good guy. That's about it. This movie, this new one, actually shows him as a person. His personality, good and bad.
It gave him an actual story arc.
Yeah.
Last time it was oh hey, he flies an X-wing.
Yeah, and he's good at it.
And Leia trusts him.
Exactly.
That's all you get from him in the first one. And they've expanded on his character in the comic books. He has his own run that's been going for about 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good. But I thought all the performances in this were great. I loved the old man Luke stuff. Score felt a little flat for me.
The only time I really realized music was playing was when it made me think of the original score.
They use a lot of that because you've got all these characters from the original one. So
so really, and then there were
Luke's
times.
Theme, you've got Leia's theme.
Yeah, and then there were times when they played some of the original stuff in moments that kind of confused me a little bit. But I'll get into that later.
Yeah,
there were some times the score kind of I don't know. I felt like some of the, and again, this is all in the early part of the film, that I feel like. They were like, well, we don't really have time or we can't think of anything, so let's throw in 5 bars from this one right here.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way too. Even listening to the score back, I'm like, okay, with Force Awakens, you've got Rey's theme, which is very upbeat and almost kind of Christmassy.
Yeah.
And then you have the First Order theme, and then I love the Resistance theme. And you get those scattered out throughout. I guess with this one, I was expecting a new theme, and all you really got was that Rose theme.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it doesn't sound that original, whereas everything else from Force Awakens did.
Yeah.
So it just sounded generic and like something from. It sounded like something from the prequels.
Yeah.
Really. But. So overall, before we get into spoilers, how would you grade this movie? Personally, I'm walking out of the theater. I probably would have said C.
Yeah.
But in about 3 days of pondering on it and thinking about it and reading other people's thoughts on it and their theories, I'm probably taking it up to solid B+.
I would say a B-.
B-?
Yeah, and it's because of...
If it wasn't for the visuals, I'd probably be B-. But the visuals really...
For me, there were just some... There were some things I'll get into on the tail end. Like I said, I still liked it.
Yeah.
I walked out feeling kind of mixed on the movie, but I still liked it.
Okay.
But there were some things that I just couldn't.
Yeah. All right. So we're coming up on the 10-minute mark. So we're going to get into spoilers right about now.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. I'm not happy with how they handle some things.
That's fine. You can go first.
I'm not happy with how they handle Snoke. And I'm not happy with...
I want to know if your issues with Snoke are the same with mine.
Okay, what are your issues with Snoke?
Okay,
or do you want me to...
one, they never explained exactly where he came from.
Yeah. And that's my big issue, because there's been this big... Like, they made a big deal about where... Like, even in the books, like, this mysterious force that the Emperor was hunting for and all this. Mm-hmm. And it's been implied that that's Snoke.
Yeah.
And there's really been no detail given on that. And I don't know if we're going to get that in the future.
Yeah.
But I just watched a theory on YouTube about Snoke, and it kind of changed my mind on it. But for him to die the way that he did without any explanation, which I didn't expect answers in this one for anything. I didn't expect to learn who Snoke was, where he's from, what his deal is. I didn't expect to learn who Rey's parents were. And I'm kind of upset that they gave the answers the way they did.
I feel like the answer to Rey's parents isn't true.
Yeah, I hope.
I have a feeling that he was just saying that.
Or if they are nobody, maybe it's just like Shmi Skywalker. Like, maybe she's born through the Force.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of in shock of how they handled Snoke.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Snoke's dead. Like, I really don't think he is. Like,
I really...
Or they're going to do more with him in that trilogy that he's doing.
I hope that, to be honest, I hope that Snoke's dead. I just wish that they would have actually explained his background more, because then it would have made what Kylo Ren did more impressive, with doing two things at the same time to confuse Snoke, to let him not realize what he was doing.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, too. Like, Snoke should have seen it coming. Like, he should have... If he's all-powerful and can slam Hux around from across the galaxy... Like, where Vader could just choke somebody from across the galaxy, he can, like, pick them up and...
Throw him.
Yeah. Go all Hulk and Loki on his ass.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if he's all-powerful and more powerful than Vader is what they kept saying. Yeah. Like, if that's the case, then show it more. Like, have him do a lightsaber battle. Like, I would love to see that. And him throwing Rey around was great. Like, I love the stuff up to Snoke. Yeah. Like, up to his death. And like, I wanted more Snoke, because I was really enjoying Andy Serkis's performance. Yeah. So if we get it, great. If not, I'm gonna have to deal with it. Yeah. I think my biggest issue with this movie is I was thrown by that. I did not expect that to happen, and I didn't get the answers that I wanted.
My thing is, I would have so much rather have known Snoke's background and have him not die in this one, and still be left on the dark on Rey, and not even have a possible fake story be thrown in there, which I'm really hoping that is.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rey a little bit and the Jedi training on Act 2 with Luke. I really like the dynamic between her and Luke.
Yeah, to be honest, though, when they first showed him, the initial fling of the lightsaber, that started a whole cascade of Act 1 to, I don't know, the first half of the film. I felt like whoever was in charge of it didn't know if they were making a Star Wars movie or a Star Wars comedy. Yeah. Because there were a lot of stuff that you can tell they put in as a gag, and nobody in the theater laughed. Nobody laughed in the theater.
I don't think people were expecting the gags. It definitely has gags in it that are not expected. It almost comes across like a Marvel movie.
Not even some of the stuff just it didn't.
It's a little too jokey in parts. Yeah, but him throwing the lightsaber, my theater got a laugh. This is opening night though. That got a laugh. Well, yeah. The Poe and Hux stuff, like the intercom stuff, like that got a laugh.
Well, no, I know. It's that's something I didn't. The stuff with Poe on hold for Hux and all that stuff, like that was funny. It was just I wasn't expecting the whole toss over the shoulder, and then that didn't even get cycled into the whole play for humor thing until later through the movie, when it happened a bunch of other times.
Yeah.
But I really wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. I think part of that is you have this other director coming in and picking up from the end of Force Awakens. He's like, well, how do we move on from this? Like, if we're picking up right here, like, what's the best way? If we're picking up this movie right where this one ends, and this is the big moment, how do you get out of that without it just being straight up dialogue? Like, if you want him to just walk away from it, what's the best way to do it? He takes a lightsaber and throws it over his shoulder. That's it. Like, and that, I like that. Like, that helps it move along quick, because that shows you right away that Luke wants nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It answers the question right off the gate. Like, what's going to happen next? Like, you're kidding me. Like, that's how you end it, and then just right on to it. And I love that.
Yeah.
The island stuff was fun. I didn't think.
Was.
What did you think of the porgs?
I liked the use of them for how much they did.
Yeah.
I felt the crying porg after Chewbacca shoos the four away and the ones left crying. I felt like that was a little too much.
Yeah.
And then the only other time I thought it was a little too much was when they decided to sell a window cling and had one fly up against the window of the Millennium Falcon when it did a barrel roll. Other than that, I liked them. I thought they were funny.
They weren't too many. They gave Chewbacca something to do, because Rey takes the Falcon with Chewbacca and R2,
and Chewbacca just sits there.
Yeah, I loved Luke's reaction to, like, the whole Chewbacca coming in and just busting down the door.
Yeah,
I loved that, and like, it gave Chewbacca something to do on the island.
Yeah,
while R2 is just going back to sleep. Not much of R2 in this, but his scene was
important.
Yeah, it was very important.
Yeah,
and a lot of important Luke stuff. Like, I wish we had more Luke stuff, because I think the middle of the movie suffers because there's not as much Luke as I wanted. Like, as soon as Rey leaves the planet, there's no Luke.
Yeah,
there's like one scene of Luke, and that's it until the end. Yeah,
and that's kind of what I meant for before when I said, like, the first half of this movie, I felt like they didn't know half the time. I felt like it felt confusing. It felt like they didn't know exactly whose storyline to go to next after they were done telling the 3-4 minutes of somebody else's.
Yeah,
and I felt like the fades and the I guess the lead into the next into the next scene and to the next character, a couple of times it didn't really flow.
Yeah, I think,
and it really threw me off.
Yeah, I would have much rather. I don't know how I feel about the Casino Planet storyline.
Oh, that's an issue with me.
Is it?
That's an issue with me.
I get what they were going for. Like, I get the whole showing
like a high class.
Showing the high class and people who are making money off of this war. They're giving them the weapons to the First Order and the Resistance. I could have done without the chase. Like, I get you have to get them out of there, but I could have done without that whole chase scene with the horses and
that and just I feel like when they went to the casino, like, I feel like even having a space station would have been better than what they did. Like, I get they were trying to show that it's like the rich and famous or the rich and powerful or like these are the people that sell, like they're arms dealers pretty much. But like, as soon as I saw the yacht and who was on it, and then they panned over to show like the lake town thing, like it looked like something from like the it's escaping me now, the Mediterranean.
Yeah,
like, it looked like some like rich European, French or Italian like city, and it didn't fit for me.
Yeah,
like, I get that it's supposed to be like shiny and new and sterile and all this other stuff, but it didn't fit. It didn't fit into it for me.
Yeah,
and I really did not like the code breaker. I
didn't either. I like that they had him betray them, because that's if you're going to compare this to Empire, because it's the second one in the series, that's your Lando, without the redemption.
Yeah, without the redemption, but
you get that betrayal.
You're not gonna. I mean, this is what you get for trusting a guy you meet in a jail cell.
Yeah,
exactly.
It would have been better off getting Justin Theroux to help them, like they wanted to, like Maz.
I really wish that they would have done that.
Yeah.
I really wish that they would have turned that entire thing into like a 2-minute clip of them running in, like catching him off guard, like the woman that he was with, and said, "Hey, what's that about?" And he said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm on a streak or something." Like have her meet with them when they were standing over the racetrack or whatever, or even I might be messed up with my timeline. I can't remember if they find him before the racetrack or after. No,
I think
after.
it was after because BB-8 comes out.
Fine. Have it to where they see him and then they get chased off.
Yeah.
And they like hide in a closet or something, then come out after the guards leave. They see the racetrack. She explains her little backstory. They go back through, look across the corner. There she is and says, "Hang up. Who are you two?"
Yeah.
They explain it. They go, "Oh," they meet up with him. There's a little thing for bargaining. Okay. They could have done the same thing with her medallion.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been on a stolen ship. They would have gotten there. They wouldn't necessarily need to have them be betrayed. It could just be that Stoke's ship is so advanced that it can look through cloaking technology. Or have something. Okay.
The best thing that came out of that Finn storyline was the reveal of Phasma.
Oh yeah,
I love that because I forgot about Phasma until that happened, and I read the Phasma book and I was like, oh yeah, Phasma's a thing.
Yeah, I really feel like they should have done more with her in The Force Awakens.
They should have done more with Poe too, but they both got shortchanged, and she got shortchanged in this one too,
to a point.
Yeah,
because she was in it a decent bit, but still.
I mean, and the question is, does she survive that? Because people have fallen down shafts before in Star Wars and lived. Darth Maul. So,
Darth Maul.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about Luke and Rey. We've talked about Finn and Rose.
I want to go over Stoke again.
Okay, you want to go over Snoke again?
I want to go over Snoke again.
Let's go back to Snoke.
I have a big problem with his throne room, whatever the heck that thing is. For one thing, he looks like Goldmember in the robe.
Okay.
He looks like the villain from Goldmember, okay? And second, he has the Queen of Hearts guards guarding him.
Mm-hmm.
They look just as bad as what I thought they did when the toys came out.
Yeah.
They looked like cheap plastic samurai mid armor suits. It looked bad. It looked really bad.
Well, at least they gave them something to do, whereas you never really saw Palpatine's guards do anything.
I know, but they could have had them at least somewhat look like Palpatine's guards, because I think what works for Palpatine's guards, I'm fine that they actually fought. I love the fact that they actually fought. I'm okay with them all having different weapons.
Mm-hmm.
They still looked like Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe on steroids.
Okay.
They looked like a mixture between that and if after he shot himself up with steroids, he decided to go into Alice in Wonderland and become the King of Hearts, the leader of her guard, and then decided to design all of the armor.
See, that his guards are one of the lesser issues I have with his whole thing.
And then, of course, having like the red background.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a Broadway set. Like I seriously thought that it was like, oh, great, this is going to be a musical number.
I like the reveal that like when that thing burns up, that it's just a giant window. Like,
well,
I love that.
Because I actually had a sigh of relief when he forces her up to like the magnifying glass window thing and like the curtain opens up a little bit. And it shows what's going on. I'm like, oh, thank God that's not. I'm like, oh, thank God that's not actually a wall.
Yeah.
Like that's actually a curtain.
Let's talk a little bit about how Snoke dies.
Okay.
From the get-go, I did not want Kylo Ren to go good. People keep saying, oh, he's going to be redeemed. No, you killed Han Solo. You don't get redemption. Like even for Leia, you don't get redemption. And I didn't want him to go good.
Yeah.
I was more okay with him going good if Rey went bad.
Like
and
they flipped.
Yeah.
Like they would
and
switch.
I thought that's where they were going.
Yeah.
For a good chunk of this movie, up until they work together and then he stays evil.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so glad they did that.
Mhm.
I'm not happy with how they got there because of the whole Snoke thing, but I'm learning to
Yeah.
live with that. Like, the initial shock of that has gone by a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm more okay with it now, and I'm interested to see how it is the second viewing. But the fight scene with Kylo and Rey working together was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I love that. So I did not expect that. I knew that he was going to ask her to work with him.
Yeah.
Because I saw that in the one trailer that I saw once. So I avoid trailers, because if I had seen that more, I would have been like, oh, okay, so this is going to happen. But just the use of the Force in that with the lightsabers and tossing them back and forth, and
Yeah.
like, that was not a fight scene that you've seen in any Star Wars movie before. No. It's not something they did in the prequels. It definitely wasn't something they did in the originals.
Yeah.
So.
With having them fight back to back like that. I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't really that they're not going the Gray Jedi route, because I felt like with a new generation and with the way Luke is handling like the past, I felt like that was this would be the good segue into creating a new trilogy.
It still might be.
I hope,
because you have Rey, like, when she meditates and goes right to the dark, and Luke's terrified.
Yeah,
like
she comes right back. That's the thing. She comes right back, and she's still the same person she was when she went in.
So she could probably use both.
Yeah, and
that was Palpatine's whole thing too. Like, you've got to learn both sides of the Force to really master it.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with her in the future, and what the future of the Jedi is. Let's talk about Leia. I really thought when the bridge blew up, that was their out.
Yeah,
it could have been. It could have been their out for writing her off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying not to say too much about it, because my wife is in the other room, and I don't want her to hear me talk about this too much, because she hasn't seen the movie yet, and I want to keep something a surprise for her. I thought that was their out of writing off the character, and I was like, it's abrupt, but okay, I can live with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then La La Land happens.
Yeah.
And I, like, if it wasn't for the music in that scene, I would have been furious. But the music got me. I was like, oh my God, like, this is like, damn.
Well, I mean, she is the other.
Yeah.
If you play it all the way back to the original trilogy, she is the other.
Yeah.
So there's always...
And it was nice to actually see her use
it, yeah.
And I think in any other world, I think if Luke Skywalker hadn't been in this movie, that would have been their out.
Mm-hmm.
Or have her jump the ship to light speed.
Yeah.
It's just different that you can't get her in there to shoot it.
Yeah.
To do that. And I think the only reason they didn't use that as their out for her was they wanted that scene with her and Luke. Like, that's the only reason they didn't do it. And I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with Leia in the future. Like, I really don't know. Like, if Force Awakens was Han's movie, this was Luke's, and 9 they were saying was going to be her movie, which they totally set it up to be.
It's going to be Chewie's movie.
But that doesn't really count, because you don't got Peter Mayhew playing him anymore.
Yeah, it's still the suit.
Yeah.
It's the suit.
It's the Suits movie.
It's just
3PO's movie.
3PO's movie. I love that. That one scene with him where she turns around, it just has to wipe that look off your face.
I don't think
C-3PO.
I don't think Carrie Fisher was playing Leia in this. I think she was just playing Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, she definitely was playing Carrie Fisher.
She slaps Poe. She shoots Poe.
Mm-hmm.
She did the line about the hair again.
Yeah.
Like, that last battle on the Salt Planet.
Yeah.
It really gave me Hoth vibes.
It did, but
and I think it was meant to. There was a lot in this movie that's meant to remind you of Empire.
It was meant to, but I seriously feel like the next time somebody puts their finger on whatever planet's dirt is on the surface and puts it on their tongue, they should automatically die because it's poisonous. Who the heck does that? Seriously.
Well, I think they know that it's probably salt. They just want to check.
Oh, it's salt. And the camera stayed on him for like a good 2 seconds after he said it for no reason.
Well, I think if they were to just have the red stuff come up with no explanation.
But they show it. They show in the footsteps that the little movement of their feet puts the white stuff over and it's red.
Yeah.
That's all that needs to be done. They don't need some random soldier to go, finger to ground,
Well, no.
finger to
Well-
tongue, and salt.
Yeah, I know you just saw the movie, so you might not have time to think about this. The Luke scene where Luke
Yeah.
walks out there.
Yeah.
He doesn't leave footsteps.
No, he doesn't. Exactly.
So, like, I think that's for the audience to, like, you don't think about it until after the fact. Like,
They
oh my
plainly show a foot hit
Uh-huh.
the ground out of the bunker
Yeah.
ditch thing and leaves a red mark.
I didn't know this.
Everything they do leaves a red mark on
Yeah.
the ground.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to say that it's salt, but I'm okay with it. Like that, like of all the issues I have with this movie, like that's not one of them.
It's not one of my big issues. I just
Yeah.
thought it was stupid. And the next time somebody does that, it better be arsenic. And they're going to
Yeah.
go, oh, it's arsenic. And then they're going to die because you don't lick random stuff that's on a planet you've never been to before. Anyway, I thought the visuals were cool on that one because I've ever since seeing the trailer, the first one, I wanted to know, like, was that red stuff shooting up? Like, was that like the ship's exhaust that they were expelling from from it, or was that water? Like, what the heck was that? And
Yeah.
then they show like
This
it's
movie,
a salt planet.
This movie has uses the color red a lot,
Mhm.
and I love that. Like you don't, that's not a color you usually see,
No,
which is great. Like that's not a color you see in Star Wars at all, except for
No.
the lightsabers, and even then, it's almost white.
or unless like the Imperial Guard.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like we were talking about, they barely do anything. They just kind of stand there.
Yeah, I know, but I like that though.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the red in this is in your face.
Oh, yeah.
between the curtains in Snoke's chambers and
Mhm.
then the salt, and then
Do you want to know why Snoke had all the bruises on his face?
why?
It's from peeling his skin.
Mhm.
Gold member?
I knew you're getting.
Yeah.
at.
Okay. Good.
I like gold.
I couldn't get that out of my head the entire time he
Oh,
was standing there with that
that's a
golden
keeper.
robe on.
Oh,
Anyway, okay. Back to
yes.
salt.
Yeah. I kind of. How do you feel about the Finn Rose love story?
The Finn Rose.
Yeah.
It really wasn't a love story. It was just
kind of just her fangirling over him.
It was
like she
it
falls
was,
in love with him so quickly.
and that's it. And I really, to be perfectly honest, the fact that they show her still alive really annoys me.
I mean, to be fair, he shouldn't have survived Force Awakens. He gets slammed against a tree after getting his back
Ripped
sliced.
out.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about him waking up. Like, does he just wake up like that every time he sleeps?
Okay. If we're gonna go over that, I need to go over my list of the humor issues that
Okay.
I had with this,
Okay.
and then that'll get into what I was talking about before. But there's
Okay.
a certain point of this movie where it flips.
Okay.
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 Okay. All of the humor up until he falls out of the bed,
Mm-hmm.
I was completely fine with.
Okay.
He falls out of the bed. Good. He doesn't know where he is. He bonks his head. He falls over. Funny. There's nobody there because there's robots and none of them are
Yeah.
enough to catch him. Got it. I thought BB-8 beeping and then Poe going, Finn leaking water naked, what? And then I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, they're going to him inside the giant suit thing. They show him walking down a hallway. 20 people walking by him, clearly wearing something that's made to heal them. Nobody's seeing if he's okay.
Yeah.
He's springing water all
I mean, to
over
be
the
fair, they're
place.
being chased by the First Order, so everyone's got their
I know.
shit to worry about.
But if I was on I don't know, if I was running through a hospital
Mhm.
that was on fire and being evacuated, and I saw somebody crawling on the floor with mid chest down to their toes in a giant cast, I would stop and drag them with me.
I think he's only in there for so long, and that's why Poe is so quick to react. I don't think he's walking down that hallway as long as you think he is.
No, I think he is because they don't show a door
What I
down that
think-
hallway.
What I think that whole scene was for the people on the internet, my wife, who have been shipping Finn and Poe since Force Awakens. Like they want that to be the first gay romance in
Oh, I
Star Wars
understand.
movie.
I know.
And I think him talking about him naked is like, oh yeah, hey, we know this is a thing that people want, but no, this is what you get. He's going to talk about him being naked, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the first time we say naked, and oh no, the second time.
Yeah.
First time is 3PO in episode 1.
Yeah.
My Porsche showing.
Yeah. So there was that whole like attempt, and the whole, and then when Kylo and Rey are like communicating again, and Kylo isn't wearing a shirt, and she says, "Can you put on a towel or something?"
I didn't mind that.
And they paused. Nobody laughed in the theater I was in,
I don't
including
think they had
me.
to. I don't think it was.
I didn't
it
even
was
find
more-
it humorous.
I don't think it was going for humor there. Though. I think it was just like making her like showing that she's confused, like conflicted with her feelings. So if she's seeing him with his shirt off, maybe she finds him attractive, but and she's confused by that because she doesn't
don't want to
trust him.
go into that far into their psychosis.
Well, somebody had to.
Somebody had to, yes.
Yeah, I didn't really see that one as a joke, but I'll keep that in mind when I watch it again, and we'll talk about it.
And then the
next time.
Porg being squished up against the window and the Millennium Falcon did its thing.
Yeah. What'd you think of the? Yeah, we've got neighbors.
Oh, okay.
What'd you think of the four-titted cow with the green milk?
That did not need to be in there. That scene did not need to be in there.
I mean, I get where they were going with that.
Yeah.
It was showing what his life is. Like, 'cause what's Luke been up to this whole time? Oh, he's drinking milk, he's fishing, and he's living on this island with these nuns.
Which didn't need to be in the movie.
The nuns.
They didn't need to be in the movie, period.
It was to give the training stuff a little bit of humor, and I get it. Like, if you have this big tension thing where she's training and doesn't know her power, and then she does something like that, like you don't need that humor. But I think they were just trying to, like, that's where it felt a little too Marvel like for me.
There was enough going back and forth between the storylines.
Yeah.
Where they could have left the Luke and Rey stuff to be like 98% serious with a little bit of humor from Luke being like sarcastic about who the Jedi are. Like, instead of saying lightsaber, he says laser sword.
He does?
Yeah, he says laser sword instead of lightsaber.
When does he say that?
Something about
you're
gonna go with your,
you think one guy with a laser sword is
Yeah.
Okay.
He says laser sword, so he's being sarcastic and snippy about the Jedi because he feels that everything that he's been taught needs to go away.
And
like,
he's
it's
not wrong. Like,
Yeah.
when he talks about why the Jedi fell, he's not wrong. Like,
Exactly.
they didn't see this happen, and they all died for it. Like,
Yeah. And so I feel like the little bit of humor of Luke being sarcastic and snippy about the Jedi would have been enough humor for their storyline. You didn't need to have the indigenous frog fish people in the white robes taking care of the place.
Yeah, you really didn't.
None of that stuff I found funny. It's like them trying to put the wall back together from her blasting a hole in it and then her cutting the rock in half and taking out the wheelbarrow.
Yeah, you could have that. Like, every time that something like that happens, you just play the theme from Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it's like it works just as well, and it doesn't belong in a Star Wars movie.
Exactly.
While we're on the subject of Luke, let's talk about the final battle. What did you think?
I liked it.
I liked it too. I love the moment between him and Leia. And I was just so in awe of all of it. I didn't pick up on that it's not really him.
Yeah.
Until it happened. It's like, oh, damn. Like, I like that reveal.
I was actually talking to my wife about this, and she figured he was fake. Well, not fake, but like a hologram or something, because one, they don't show him leave the island.
Yeah.
They never show him arrive on the Soul Planet. And with the whole laser thing, like him getting like blasted to hell, and then he just like wipes his shoulder off. Like,
Well, I thought something was weird because the way he looked. His hair was different. His beard wasn't gray.
he was clean cut.
Yeah. I thought maybe he just cleaned himself up a bit. That's what I played it off to. He changed his robes and trimmed his beard.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect it to be like past Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Until you you don't really see how big of a difference it is until you see him back on the island meditating, and it's like, damn. But like the whole blast that man, fire everything at that guy, and Hux is just like, really? I didn't. I just didn't see it coming. Like I was just in, ooh, like that. That was a great reveal.
And I definitely liked how they did Kylo Ren's story arc.
Yeah.
To that point, to where finally he's getting he's the supreme leader now.
Supreme leader Kylo Ren does not have a ring to it.
Yeah, I don't
Supreme
care.
leader Snoke does. Emperor Palpatine has a ring to it.
Supreme leader Kylo Ren.
Yeah, no. Supreme leader Solo. I can.
I don't care if it rolls off the tongue nicely. I'm just saying he is the supreme leader now.
He is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Emperor
I'm
Kylo.
excited to see what they do in the last one.
Commander Kylo.
No, it'll be Leader Kylo.
Leader Kylo.
Supreme Leader Ren.
Kylo the God.
No.
No?
No.
Oh well.
Lord Kylo.
Lord Kylo.
He's not a Sith, so they can't call him Darth. He's not a Sith, so they can't call him Darth.
No.
So.
Oh well.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if they wrap this up in one more movie.
I don't think they.
I don't think they will.
No.
I think they're going to do another trilogy.
Yeah, I wouldn't
or
be
at
surprised.
least not make this a trilogy. Make it 4 or 5 parts to the story arc.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Or
yeah.
do 9 and 10, and then that's the end of the saga, and then do your spin-offs. Like you have so much of this other stuff in this universe to play off of.
Yeah.
Make it a 10-part series.
Yeah.
So you have your 3 trilogies and then 1 ultimate finale.
Yeah. Okay.
Or do another trilogy. Just keep doing trilogies.
I'll keep on spending the money.
And then eventually people are going to be like, so which trilogy? How do you rank the trilogies? And no matter what, the prequels will be at the bottom.
Exactly. No matter what.
What were you going to say?
We've kind of gone from beginning to end.
Yes.
Pretty much. The point where I feel like this movie bettered itself or started feeling like a Star Wars movie to me was right after, like, it started to get better slowly. It started to get better, but it didn't start flowing for me correctly until after Poe wakes up on the shuttle. Everything past Poe waking up to me felt like an actual Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And having the one that Poe had an issue with, because it's like, even me, when they were saying about a string being attached, I didn't even think about a beacon. When Poe was having his issues with the one with the purple hair, I thought she was like
betraying them.
Yeah, like betraying them.
Yeah, and they do a really good job of making you think that.
Exactly.
Like you think she's the one that's going to betray everyone, but no, it's Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, and her character arc too, like through that entire thing, like
like you don't like her up until
like she does.
Like you want, like you're rooting for You're rooting for Finn and Poe.
Yeah,
I think that's got to be their couple name, right? Foe.
The couple name, it's Foe.
Or is it Pin?
Pin. I like Pin better than Foe.
Yeah.
Faux Pin. Pin Foe. Pin Foe. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so I like how they set you up to not like her, but like the hacker guy, the slicer, they set you up to like him a little bit. Like you're like, oh, this guy's kind of sleazy, but you see, he seems like you can trust him. He helped BB-8.
Yeah,
seems to be a good judge of character.
Yeah.
I really liked her little arc there because you are rooting for Poe and Finn's work
but then Leia shows up and they were like, "Look, this is what we were planning on doing the entire time."
Amazing.
Yeah.
I did not I thought it was going to be somebody else. I did not expect Leia to just come in and shoot him.
Yeah.
So that was amazing.
But after he wakes up, all of the storytelling, all of the arcs, like finally everybody is almost in the same spot
Yeah.
because Finn and Rose are on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
You have BB-8's on the ship.
Ray's
on the ship. Kylo Ren is on the ship. Leia and
3PO.
Leia, 3PO, and brain fart.
Laura Dern.
Poe
Okay.
is on the shuttle going to the abandoned base.
Yeah.
So finally, everybody's together, and then from there on, everything they did was pure Star Wars to me. Like even like her going to light speed through Snoke's ship. Holy crap!
I love that. I love that twist, and there's a lot of what I as much as I avoided as much as I could. A lot of what I read was there's going to be a twist bigger than Empire in this, and there really isn't. It's
What
just
twist?
I'm guessing Kylo Ren is the twist that they were teasing, but there's not one big twist. There's a lot of little twists.
The big twist would have been that, like, Leia had an affair when Han was gone,
And Luke's the father.
Not going incest here. That
Watch Empire.
that either
Lucas did.
oh God, whatever. Anyway, it would have been better if she was the daughter of one of the Skywalkers, not together. One of them.
Who, Ray?
Ray. I think it would have been
want
better.
her to be a Skywalker.
I didn't either.
I'm happy
but
with
that
her.
twist would have been better than what
I-
they're trying to say was a twist in this.
I mean, as much as I wanted her to be a Kenobi, it makes more sense for her to be the child of no one. Like, how do you explain her lineage any other way?
But drunken junkers.
I still think that she,
And
like,
he
the mother
said-
might be that, but she's probably born through the Force.
And
If Snoke is as powerful as they say he is, how do we know he's not Anakin's father? Because he's been around for millennia. There's theories going around that he's the first Jedi. What if he's also Rey's father?
I would still like any of that more than what they did.
Yeah, and
Because him just saying that they were drunks, to me, the ship that leaves her behind did not belong to
Or she's
a
adopted.
drunken junker.
or she's adopted, and then like whoever her original parents were left him with these drunks, not knowing what they would do, and then they abandoned her. Because I think Han knew who she was. They play it a
thing.
lot in
I
Force
always
Awakens.
said that. I always said that.
They
The
know
look
who
on
she
his
is.
face was a look of regret when she says, "I've
Yeah.
never seen so much green." He looks like somebody stabbed him in the heart.
Yeah. So, and see that's my big problem with like coming out of Last Jedi. There is so much set up in Force Awakens it's what J.J. Abrams does. He gives you the enough to make you wonder, who are her parents? Who is Snoke? Like what are they? What are these background stories? And then what's disappointing about Last Jedi is you get answers, but you don't get answers. It's a lot like the Lost finale. You find out what happens.
I was
to
about
everyone.
to say, does
But-
he know he's not working on the set of Lost?
Well, he was not very involved with Lost. It was Damon Lindelof who went off and did Prometheus.
Okay.
Like he was one of the main. Like J.J. Abrams produced it and directed a few episodes, like the pilot, but he wasn't that involved. But
Yeah.
you get like this great setup, and then not what you expected for an answer. Like when you have 2 years to speculate on, like if the internet was around in 1980, like before Empire came out, I guarantee there'd be different theories on, well, who is Darth Vader? Like, is it maybe Obi-Wan killed his father? Maybe Vader is his father. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
The difference between having the internet around for the pre-Empire coming out
yeah.
is the fact that there wasn't a lot of resources. You
Yeah,
only had
you
Star
have all these
Wars.
resources now, so people are
You have-
speculating. And then
Exactly.
after 2 years, no matter what happens, no matter what they would reveal, you're going to get disappointed. Kind of like with the prequels. Like you have, what was it, almost 20 years of speculation on how did he become a Vader?
Well,
Like,
not just that. You had 20 years of books. You had 20 years of expanded universe.
yeah,
And people's expectations. I understand that that Hollywood's fine with making movies based off of books. Like one of the trailers that I saw, A Wrinkle in Time.
yeah. God, that
was
looks beautiful.
yeah.
Give her a Star Wars movie.
So Hollywood has no problem making movies based off of books.
Yeah,
The problem is that with how many different arcs and timelines there are in the Star Wars alternate universe, expanded universe
Yeah.
series, it's difficult to pin down one storyline that would be good. So they just made up their own.
Mhm.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them deciding, this is what we're going to do instead of this. Or we're going to take, as an example, they didn't do this, but as an example, in one of the storylines, the Emperor clones himself so that when
Yeah.
his body dies, he can just be around again.
yeah,
Instead of having the Emperor clone himself, you have the Emperor keeps on living, but instead of having like a clone army of emperors, you have maybe like, I don't know, like a suit or like maybe one
Mhm.
or something. Like they could do that, and that's what they've been doing, stuff like that from what I can see. But I feel like Empire Strikes Back is a movie unto itself. You don't have to watch A New Hope. You don't have to see Return of the Jedi for
Yeah.
it to make sense.
yeah.
This one kind of leaves you.
Yeah, this
Blank
doesn't
on its
stand
own.
alone.
It does not
Like,
stand
even
alone at all.
Force Awakens does, but at the same time, like this is the middle of a trilogy. So, like, I think if you look at like once 9 comes out, I think it's going to make more sense.
I hope.
And
Because
I think
even
I think watching this back to back with Force Awakens will be a great double feature because it's gonna they tie it right into each other. So if you look at this as just one long ass movie,
2 hours and 33 minutes.
part like even the titles work together. The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi.
Well, yeah, no, and I'm fine with it being that way. It's just the way that there was just the beginning of this movie with the pacing. I don't. There were just the beginning of this movie. The first time seeing it, the start of this movie leaves me with my head spinning. The last half of it is amazing.
Yeah,
The last half is absolutely amazing, pure Star Wars.
because you get like the callbacks to New Hope.
Mhm.
You get the Western showdown between Luke and Kylo,
Yep.
even though it's not real.
No, it's still real.
It's still real, but
yeah.
you get that great reveal with him. You get that moment with the dice,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess there are people who don't know that there are dice in the Millennium Falcon until that. Like, no one knew what. I saw a BuzzFeed article explaining it. I'm like, people needed that explained.
To be perfectly honest, I don't recognize those things.
They've been there since the beginning. Like, they're just hanging there. Look closely at your windshield thing. It's there.
Yeah, no, that's the first time I've ever recognized those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I always knew there were dice there, but that's the first time they ever acknowledged them.
Okay.
But it's just a little Easter egg, which I liked.
Okay.
Um,
I figured they were something important to Han, and
Yeah.
they were always on the ship. I just never noticed them before.
yeah. All right, so let's talk about the other scene that we have not touched on yet. Master Yoda.
Thank God it was a puppet. I don't have one complaint about that
Yeah.
entire thing. Not
Well,
one.
our friend of the show, Bill, thought it was CGI, and I'm pretty sure it was a puppet.
That was a puppet.
I think
that was a
I think some of the wide shots might have been
pu-
CGI with a puppet, but
It was a puppet. They might have CGI'd the facial expressions. They might have CGI'd the. I mean, they obviously had to CGI the glow because it was a Force ghost.
oh yeah,
But that was a puppet.
yeah.
That was. A
I
puppet.
loved it though, and I guess he has becoming a Force ghost gives you the power of Thor.
Yeah.
I really like that moment. I was kind of expecting Ewan McGregor in old age makeup to show up, or Hayden Christensen, which I would have been okay with both. But maybe there'll be a council of Jedi Force Ghosts in Episode 9.
We have the capabilities to not have it be Ewan McGregor.
They won't do it though. They got so much backlash for Tarkin.
I don't care. It worked.
It worked, but at the same time, if they're going to give him a trilogy, like, you might as well just have him do it, or just leave Obi-Wan out of it and just have it be Yoda and
which again, it was perfect with just having Yoda.
Yeah,
they don't need to pull Anakin into this. They do not need to pull Obi-Wan into this more than his voice.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that it didn't do much with the lightsaber too. Because the lightsaber is such a big thing, and
at what point for like the whole movie?
Well, they kind of just destroy it, and that's it. They destroy it, and it blows up, and then they were knocked out.
Well, I feel with her learning how to use it, they did a good job with that. With her using her staff.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like she loses it now, so she has to build her own one, which is a nice little callback to the original trilogy.
Yeah,
because if you go by the whole George Lucas saying this is a poem and the stanzas are going to repeat themselves, it makes sense to do that. But what I think part of the issue with Last Jedi is it changes up the stanza a little bit. It's a little bit more free form than people are used to for Star Wars. And I think that's what a lot of the issues were that people are having on the internet. Like, it doesn't feel like the middle chunk of this movie doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie, because it's really not. It's not, you don't really see that.
Yeah.
Like, it takes elements of the Star Wars movies, like the bringing the Jedi into the chamber with the supreme leader or emperor, but it gives different elements to that. Like, oh, they're going to team up and take him out together.
Yeah.
I wish the lightsaber would have, like, if the lightsaber was giving her these visions, I wish there would have been more visions or more explanation of those visions.
That's kind of what I mean by they didn't. There wasn't enough explanation.
Yeah,
I wish
I don't need the straight up answers. I don't need that. I'm okay with no answers, but don't give me shitty answers. Like, I don't buy Kylo saying that her parents were drunks. I don't believe that.
It would have been better if the explanation was, well, you have no parents. Well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then just have it be...
I mean, and that can even play into the drunk thing.
Yeah. And just have the only answer being that you have no parents, or that you had no parents. And then that would better explain, like, oh, wow, then what did... so then what did the First Order officer tell Kylo when he asked him who she was? Or what did Han tell Maz when she asked him who she was? Then that'll put more of an emphasis on, hang on a second. She has no parents. It means that she's Force-born. Why was she let off on this desert planet alone? Was it because they were afraid that she...
Especially if you go into like what the books were doing on, like what the Emperor was doing on Jakku. Like, there's a lot going on there that they haven't addressed in the movies at all. But there's a reason why the last battle of the Empire was at Jakku. So there's more going on that we don't know yet, and I'm excited for 9. We only have to wait 2 years. It's gonna be weird having like a year and a half between Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
we're spoiled with the every December we get one, but now we have to wait probably 5 or 6 months, unless they push Han Solo back to December, which I can see them doing since they had to reshoot the movie.
Everything. Yeah, so I'm trying to think.
Okay, I like the ending of the movie. They go off. Luke's dead. They're all on the Falcon together. Like, they have to rebuild the the Rebel Alliance. Like, they're rebels again. They're not the Resistance. They're rebels. I like that. I like that they end on the ship. Very reminiscent of Empire when they end on the medical cruiser with the fleet going out. Did not need that tag with the kids on the casino planet. Did not need it. I get.
Did you notice something though?
That he used the Force
to grab the broom.
Yeah, which is fine. I get it, but that felt a little too post-credity for me.
It's that I had issues with throughout the entire movie. They did stuff like that, and they did a lot of it in the first half.
What do you mean? Like
a lot of things dragged on too long than they had to be. This movie could have been 2 hours, not 2 hours and 33 minutes.
Yeah.
If you were to cut everything out with the frog people on Luke's planet.
See, that's not even that much. If you would have cut,
that plus some plus I'm trying to think.
Like the casino, right? Like the casino chase.
The casino could have been a 2-minute scene.
Yeah.
It could have been literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Not even. You could have gone in. Did their little thing with, getting used to the crazy, high-end roller feel to it. And then they could have seen them right away. But then they get stopped by somebody and they have to run.
And then they run into Benicio del Toro and then go on.
Not even that. They run over to the binoculars. And Rose does her little backstory of where she came from and why she hates that area. And then they decide, okay, well, it's been a couple seconds. Maybe it's safe to go. They go back over to the main casino floor. That woman that asked the guy with the red flower who said, who are they or what's going on? And he said, don't worry about it. I'm on a streak or something.
Yeah.
She could have caught them because she's been following them. And it's like, who are you? They explain who they are. She goes, oh, hang on a second. They get a meeting with him. They do their bargaining. They could have done the same thing with her little medallion.
Yeah.
And then they could have been on their way.
Yeah. But at the same time, that ruins the whole betrayal. I think you need that betrayal.
I don't think you need the betrayal.
I think you do for Finn's story arc because he's learning. He grew up in the First Order, so he's still new to the Resistance and all this.
Okay, fine.
So
the guy should have still had the betrayal then. He still could have betrayed him.
It shows
he was still a mercenary.
As much as we talked a little bit about there not being gray Jedi, but there's a lot of gray in the universe. You have the light side with the rebellion and resistance, and you have the dark side with the First Order. But there is that gray of people profiting off of the conflict of the dark and light. So, and I think Finn is it's nice to have somebody realize that that's a main character. It gives his story, him seeing where Rose came from and learning about the trade arms dealers and all that. I like what they did with that because it gives his character, albeit not much, gives him something to do.
Which they still could have done the betrayal because the guy's still a mercenary. The guy is still up for hire, so they still could have done it.
Yeah,
that entire thing could have been shorter. It really could have.
It could have been.
And there was a lot about that other guy that I didn't like, down to a personal character issues that I had with him that I couldn't stand him to begin with.
What would have made it better is if after the light speed missile, who's what I'm going to call it, if they would have just shown him floating in space dead, just a quick 3-second shot of just him floating there dead, he got his comeuppance.
Yeah,
but
because he was his character was almost kind of like Lando without the redemption on it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad they didn't go the redemption route. Because after that point, it's just kind of we're gonna this is Star Wars again.
Yeah, because it's just I couldn't his character down.
I mean, it's more of a it gives you some stuff to think about. It's not a straightforward Star Wars movie, and it doesn't need to be.
No,
it's. Have you seen any of Rian Johnson's other stuff?
What other stuff has he done?
You saw Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah,
he did what are considered the best episodes of Breaking Bad. He did the second to last episode.
Okay.
Ozymandias. He did Looper. Did you ever see Looper?
Looper?
Yeah. With
Hadrian Kirsten.
No, that's Jumper. Looper is with Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing a young
Looper.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
So it's him.
Okay.
It's that director. He did Brick. I've never seen Brick though. So he
Even the best painters still put stuff in the trash.
Yeah, but I don't think this movie's trash.
No, I don't think the movie's trash. I think that one character is trash, and they shouldn't have been in the movie. They should have met up with the guy with the rose on his lapel, and he could have backstabbed them.
Yeah.
Because even though Maz said that he's the one for the job, she never said that he was good.
Yeah.
She just said that he could do it.
The other thing that I'm disappointed in with this, before we wrap it up, is I could have used more Maz. Like, I'm kind of disappointed that it was just a hologram.
Well, she was busy playing Call of Duty.
Evidently, yeah. We left her 2 days ago. What the hell? So I hope she has a bigger part in 9, and maybe that's how you get the Rebels built back up, is through Maz.
Yeah.
She's
got connections.
I don't know what they're going to do with Leia. I really don't. I thought maybe there'd be a clear
Do they have
answer.
any scene shot for the next one or no?
No. Either they're not doing CGI, so either you write her off somehow, or you recast.
Who?
Meryl Streep. She was friends with Carrie Fisher. She played Carrie Fisher in Postcards from the Edge, pretty much.
Okay.
Like, I could see, I don't think anyone would be upset with Meryl Streep being cast in a Star Wars movie.
No.
If you get Billy Lord to sign off on it, saying, "Listen, my mom would have loved this."
Mm-hmm. And her daughter.
Oh, Billy Lord is her daughter.
Oh, name's Billy.
If you get, she's in the movie.
Oh yeah, I know that,
Yeah.
but her name is Billy.
Yeah, Billy Lord.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Billie.
Okay.
But I don't know what they're going to do, because if the story was always supposed to be Leia's story, like, I don't know how you do that without Leia.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
did you stay through the credits at all?
no, I didn't.
Okay, because about 5 minutes into the credits, the music changes to just piano of the Leia theme. I'll play it for you in a bit, and it just says on the screen, "For our princess, Carrie Fisher," and I was like, "Oh." So
Yeah, it already came out that there weren't any end credit scenes, so as soon as it stopped, we left.
I just kind of sat there and processed and gathered up the popcorn, and
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to totally get my brother in trouble, but it's not like my parents listen to this. So we go into the movie and we each bought like a large popcorn and you get free refills. But we went to this screening where they gave away these little grocery bags, like keep grocery bags of that had Star Wars stuff on the outside. So my brother's like, "I should just pour the popcorn into this and go get a refill." I was like, "Do it." So I helped him, and he did it. So he walked out with a bag full of popcorn at the end of the night.
that's good.
Yeah.
So my thing with this movie,
Yeah.
because of the last, I would say probably hour of this film, I liked it.
Yeah.
The first part, I'm going to have to watch it again just to get my head around it, because they dumped a lot of info at the start of this movie.
They really did.
I liked how they fully explained what happened to Kylo as to why he left and why he did what he did at Luke's camp.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I really like that.
And I also like how they showed Luke became weak for a little bit and he almost decided to kill him. Like, I was happy that they
I like that too. That wasn't just like, "I'm going to kill you." It was kind of like, "I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Oh shit, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh fuck."
Yeah, exactly. And then Ben turns around and sees what he's doing.
Yeah.
I definitely like what they did with Rey, even though there was that issue with her backstory.
Yeah, well, the cave. Like, I don't know what to make of the scene in the cave.
That was something that I actually kind of forgot about. Thank you for bringing that up.
Because it's a lot like Luke's failure in the cave.
Was it really a failure, though?
No, but
because
the cave. Remember your failure in the cave. It was a lot like that, because he cuts off Vader's head, and then he sees his face in there. But she looks in the mirror and she sees herself. So I think there is more to her origins. Like that, if that's what she was looking for there, maybe she is just created by the Force.
That's why I took it as she's looking for her parents. They show two smoky figures come into one.
Yeah.
And it's her face. So it's like, Okay, so is the cave telling her that she has no parents? Is it trying to trick her because he says that there's balance? So on that island, there is a dark side of the island, which is that cave. So if that's true, and the top part's the light and the bottom part's dark, then the dark is going to try to make her feel alone, scared, and fearful.
Yeah.
So doing what it did would trick her, make her feel uneasy with all of the copies of herself, and then her trying to find out who her parents were and then have it be her, meaning that she's afraid that maybe that, she doesn't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I took it as. Definitely artsy.
Yeah.
The one in
It's an
Empire
artsy
was
Star
a bit
Wars
more.
movie.
The one in Empire was a bit straightforward. That if he didn't turn back from being fearful, that he was going to turn into Vader.
Yeah. What I like about the Kylo Ren stuff in this is he's pretty much what would have happened to Vader if Obi-Wan never got the high ground.
Yeah.
Like if he would have been as powerful as he was and wasn't injured and in the suit, he would have killed the Emperor. He would have taken over the universe, and Padme would probably still be alive, but he'd still be on the dark side. There would be no coming back from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now it's 50 years later, and his grandson's finishing what he started.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Because it makes it an interesting story for 9. So.
Yeah. And 10. And 11.
12.
And 12. And then 13, 14, 15.
And Commander Huck's Star Wars story. And
mm-hmm. And then the saga about Poe's great-grandchildren.
I'd watch that. If they're half as good as... if they're anywhere near as decent a pilot as he is. I love the space stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love the space stuff. The only thing I didn't like about that opening battle was how slow those goddamn bombers were. Like, why? Like, you jump... Like, I'm pretty sure they jumped from Lightspeed, right? Or they came from below, or...
No, they came out of the ship. They came out of the...
They're moving. Why so slow? Like, why just crawling? Like, go a little bit faster. Gun it. Just a little bit more.
What happened to the Y bombers? That's what I want to know.
Y wings?
That's what Y wings were. They were bombers.
Yeah. I mean, they may have been destroyed when Starkiller destroyed like all of the all the Republic. I don't know.
Yeah.
A wings came back though.
I'm happy about that. Mondo
You're
happy about that.
Only one that's happy about that.
Oh, I love A wings. They are the best things ever.
I've been playing the original Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
And I did a Galactic Conquest, and I was just kicking ass every space battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like flying around in a little TIE fighter, just blowing shit up, taking out those A-Wings. Oh, I love that game.
Yeah. But so there... With all the issues this movie has, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
Now, with the issues you have, are you excited to see Rian Johnson do a trilogy?
Well, yeah, I am.
Okay.
I feel like...
Would you rather see a trilogy of his movies or J.J. Abrams'
I want to
movies?
see a trilogy of his movies where he doesn't have to try to put the pieces back together from somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what happened. I feel like, just like you said, he tossed the lightsaber because...
And I mean, there wasn't much he could do about it.
Because he was trying to get out of that ending scene.
Yeah, I know one thing that he was able to change about Force Awakens was at the end it was supposed to be BB-8 on the Falcon with Rey and Chewie. And he's like, hey, no, give me R2. And so they put R2 on the ship instead. So that's why you get that Leia's hologram scene with Luke and R2 on the Falcon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what JJ does with it for the last one. I love JJ. He's one of my favorite directors. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes. Okay. So he's like the director,
writer and director for
one.
9. Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel part of the problem was with the beginning, like I said, and kind of like what you were going for when you said that he flipped the lightsaber because he had to find some way out of an ending like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think like if it wasn't,
I feel like that's what destroyed the pacing for the start of the movie.
I think the problem with that also is playing into that is that it picks up right after. Like you always have that gap, so you can put them on an ice planet with no explanation. You have to explain where these characters are and why they're there because it's so quick.
Yeah.
Like the Resistance is just kind of going at a crawl the whole movie, and that's it. So, I think it's like if it wasn't for it picking up right where Force Awakens ended, like it would have been a completely different movie.
Yeah.
But the reality was you have to pick it up right there, because you can't just say Rey's been on this island for a year trying to get Luke to train her. You need, like, that doesn't make sense. You need to have her there right away and have him toss the lightsaber away. Like, you can't dilly dally and say, oh yeah, it's been a year. No, it's right now. Like, this is what's happening. And they play with time a little bit because...
You know what would have been good in my mind, though? Instead of it flipping over his shoulder. Like, he reaches out, he takes the lightsaber, he looks at it, hands it back, and just says, go away. And then walks away.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm thinking before. It was like the humor aspect of it, which, like the toss thing, it's just, I don't know. But anyway, it still works.
Yeah. Anything else you got?
No, other than the fact that, I mean, it's worth seeing. I mean, visually, it's amazing.
I'm excited to go see it again here in a bit. Like, I got to wake my wife up here in like an hour. Yay, third shift. But I'm excited for the future of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm really shocked they didn't release a trailer for Han Solo or Solo, a Star Wars
They probably
movie.
don't have anything right now.
They should. If we have a trailer for Infinity War, which is coming out around the same time, like, we should have a teaser trailer for...
And there was a trailer for something that's coming out in a year.
Which trailer?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Was it Spider-Man?
No, it wasn't Spider-Man.
Did you see that new Spider-Man trailer?
No, there was the Spider-Man trailer. There was Wrinkle in Time. There was some horror silence one.
Oh, yeah, with John Krasinski and
Yeah.
Emily Blunt.
That looked interesting.
Yeah.
Those are the only 3 trailers I can remember. But there was another one that said, like, coming out in, like, it just didn't say next year, because next year could be January. Like, it said, like, either, oh God, like November, October or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. All right. Well, that's all I've got.
I'm good.
So for you have to watch this podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And may the force be with you.